To be told, the sound is more difficult to accustom myself to than Agra's multi-jointed gait. Your granite-clad feet pointing to the earth with enormous shuddering crashes that could be heard even from our rare station. I looked over the edge, in city center. Let's look over the edge. At the verdant fields of the forest below, interrupted by little thatched villages and larger brick building towns which wreathed themselves in black smoke. The grand trunk road snaked ahead of us towards the horizon. I felt like a giant. The earth seemed to unroll itself for my inspection. Farmers and horses and cows below seemed pale and unreal and altogether insignificant. In that moment, only I was solid. Only I was real. Thankfully, the moment passed quickly. You know, this kind of sounds like a bit of poetry right here. Especially the end, well, I was solid, only I was real. It's actually pretty well written. The moment passed quickly, but I did not soon return to the railing. A man thought strange thoughts, perched atop a migrating city, an engine for a heart. Can we go into these two cities or go here? Converse. Greetings, Madam Navigator. Okay, Calcutta. Calcutta is named for its art, literature, and theater. I don't want to go to any of these places. Rangoon is south. Bombay is India. Chittagong looks Chinese. Guess you get from Chittagong for the Calcutta board SS Thunder. And give it to Hong Kong. Okay. Some buyers will pay well for pocket altimeters from Hong Kong. And then Hong Kong, Canton, Good, Singapore. Let's go to Japan. Oh, that's not Japan. I thought it was Yokohama. It's Yananamban. Did you know the quickest way to Yananamban from here is through Chittagong? Chittagong. You take me to Singapore. But I don't want to go to Singapore. I want to go to the here. The master and I took a turn about the top deck. Past the side of Allahabad. Finally got the glistening white marble edifice Taj Mahal. Just past the side of Allahabad. On our right hand side. Through the trees we could just see the gleam of the railway line, which appeared to end rather abruptly. Photographer, instead of a booth on the lawn, it was doing a brisk trade taking phototypes, families posing in front of their magnificent monument. It was so quick. He developed, fixed, varnished, and handed the phototype to the customer in a matter of minutes. He glanced over me appraisingly. Photograph, he asked in passable French. £10. Let's do it. I agreed, then glanced at Sir Fogg. And invited him to join me in this picture. Come on. Got it, you know, it's like a postcard. Well, are there postcards with your picture on? I don't think so. But it's just to remember the trip. He glanced at the photographic apparatus with evident suspicion. And then a hopeful expression. Very well, he says shortly. I stared at him mouth agape for a full 20 seconds. I did not imagine he'd agree. Okay, I think because we got a relation long enough, he agreed. We posed beside each other. The photographer made his equipment ready. I could barely keep the grin from my face. There was a blinding flash of white light, and by the time my vision had returned to normal, Fahrenheit was already being pressed into my hands. A handsome article in sunlight. I could almost see the merest hint of a smile upon my master's lips. I tucked the Fahrenheit into my pocket, and we continued about our promenade. Can we go here? Darn it. I was taking a small, digestive walk after a substantial breakfast when I saw a young lady in bright pink sari and yellow lens goggles pitch herself over the railings. I looked across the deck, immediately taking myself in some coils of rope, which tumbled me into the railings in slightly less heroic fashion than intended. Peered over the edge, bracing myself for a traumatic sight. But the woman waved at me cheerily, suspended from the railing by a length of thick hemp rope, bound about her waist. I collapsed to my knees. I waved back. Come on, be nice. Don't need to collapse. Though my fixed expression could hardly have been described as nonchalant, given by the kindest critic. Oof. The woman sought me out at luncheon, for which time I was much recovered. She introduced herself as Daya. To Madame Daya. I bowed. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. She laughed in surprise. Your manners are very fancy. Thought we'd lost you earlier. Oh my gosh. That is so harsh. Thought we lost you earlier. Damn, no. I would never do that. Gosh, damn. I'd rather sit with me. As was only polite, see? This guy gets it. But she shook her head. I do not eat up here, she pronounced derisively, before glancing at me with bright mischief. We are a city of many levels. The real Agra is below decks. I'll take you down tomorrow. You want to do more than sightseeing. Okay, I don't know what that means. Is there like more to the city? She swept away to the crowd, leaving me to contemplate her challenge over my meal. Alright, we'll do it tomorrow. You're in fine form, we must make haste. I agree. Of course. Stayed well away from lower decks. I went below decks. Well, it was an invite, take it. I'm a maid who cannot resist a challenge. Daya told me of some of the history and layout as we descended a couple of stairs of increasing ricketiness. The upper deck was devoted to Taj Mahal. I followed until we reached the stop. My guide raised her hand. Down the edges vibrating up to the floor. It was what about. Let's talk about the engines. I think that's what I would notice more. The walls here were highly polished, inlaid with jasper and sharp calligraphy. Then, jumped a pair of carved doors, flurry of people. An enormous set of boilers, which traversed the middle of the cavernous room, divided the central promenade into two halves. We had come to a township built within the echoing bowels of the city, complete with shops and residences, and even children playing games on the street. So the children tossed indestructible spanners and brass rings. You get to toss levers, child to ring with foot. Muslim called the thief's little prayer. The child to ring at my feet, and shyly approached as I reached out to hand it back. The ring I saw was old and engraved with measurements. A kneecap, Daya said. We go through 5 or 6 every decade. Daya was clearly a well-known figure, and introduced me to her fellow lower city folk with great pride. Almost everyone wore tool belts, Canal lens goggles. So are they like the artificers? That's the theme I'm getting.